Okay, in my last video, I was talking about this heirloom story, right? And in the video, the basic premise, the challenge was, I want proof that this was actually a printed story, prior to 1940. And someone told me,
What do you mean, show you a printed copy? At that point, you're pretty much toast on all of this. Go to the lab and show me that urinary metabolites or brain activity when exposed to modulated EMR and
blah, 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 blah. Dude, you're not getting it. I'm asking for proof that this was a printed book. That's it. It's very, very simple. All you have to do is show me that it was a printed book, an actual printed book, because anybody can reference a book that doesn't exist and make it up. Like, I'll make up one right now. I got the story of the heirloom from the Encyclopedia of Delusions and Mental Illness, 1923. Cool. I just referenced a book on the internet, right? But it doesn't mean that the book actually exists. And as far as like brainwaves and that shit, they brought that up. Show me the proof of the brainwaves. You can make a 2-minute cell phone call and see that your brainwaves change for hours afterwards. That's been documented. RF affects the brain. You can actually see it.
Look at what they found. The image on the left shows what happened when the cell phone was turned on. The most active areas are in red. Notice the upper right part of the brain. That's the area closest to the antenna. Compare that with this image on the right of the same subject when they had their cell phones turned off.
I confess that after the findings, I changed my behavior.
Anyway, other people have been trying to pose to make it seem really real, whining that I'm not talking about something that I used to talk about or whatever. The content isn't to their liking, right? Let me read you the description of my channel. Here it is. Most of these videos have something to do with rogue radio frequency, RF, ELF, EF, OPS, PSYOPs, 4G, 5G, radar, microwave, modern voice hearers, V2K, voice of God weapons, Bolshevism, and Bolsheviks, electronic surveillance, whistleblowers, information campaigns, propaganda, the mental health narrative, sock puppets, trolls, operators, bots, HARP-like technology, weaponized frequencies and surveillance, infrasound and ultrasound, chemtrails, authoritarians and authoritarianism, bioagents and bioweapons, fungus, but I am allowed to go in any direction I like. If you don't like what I'm putting out, don't subscribe. Just get out of here. Pound the carpet and run. So, with all that out of the way, let's get into what I really want to talk about today. I've been studying these people online for many years, whether you want to call them moles, trolls, operators, disinfo agents, shills, whatever. There's a million names for them. I've been studying them a decade, easy, following some accounts down internet rabbit holes that took me to some very, very interesting places. Even conversing with them for some time without them knowing that I already knew that they weren't who they claimed to be. A lot of the time offering up information to them that wasn't true, was completely fictional, and sitting back to see what would happen with this salted information that I had given them. In my journey of studying the online mole, shill, troll, operator, whatever you want to call them, I realized something astounding some years ago. They were all connected. Why every comment from them sounded like the same person talking or typing had a reason. They really were and are all connected. From the mole attacking someone on a post about weaponized RF, to a shill who is attacking someone underneath like a 9/11 video or someone criticizing NASA, to even a video or a post on fucking Cyrax, right? They're all connected. Not just connected through trolling. They not only each have hundreds or thousands of sock puppets and share the same psychological traits, they have a lot more in common. They're all connected. Now watch, these same people will attempt to leave comments under this video, and they'll attempt to steer the conversation by acting like they're adding to the information. Like,
a lot of these people seem to come from insert website here.
Or pretending to talk shit about one of them while backhandedly promoting their YouTube channel or their website or whatever, right? More misdirection and more bullshit. Or,
yeah, That one asshole,
insert YouTube handle here.
followed me for years. He's such a bastard.
They're either on the attack or they're posting as if they're the victim. There is no other role for them. When you really start to study these people, there is a part that won't make sense to you. The longer you study them, you wonder how they could spend so much time focusing on things they allegedly hate. For example, these are guys that will go after someone, and they make the claim that this person that they're going after is the biggest loser, the biggest degenerate, and the most unworthy person in the world. Yet they have an entire YouTube channel dedicated to them, or an entire X account dedicated to them, and they post videos about these people almost every single day. You need to really think about this. No normal person does that. It would be no different than me starting a YouTube channel about the asshole retard that lives down the street from me. Me claiming that he's an asshole, he's a retard, and he's the biggest loser ever. Yet I have a YouTube channel to cover the guy, and I talk about the guy on that YouTube channel at least once a day. You really, really need to think about this because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. No one behaves like this. It's almost like they're being paid to be terminally online, when most of these people would be selling boner pills to people on the internet otherwise. It's important to understand this, to understand what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why they're doing it. Because looking at them for a while and studying them lets you know what they're thinking, where the orders are coming down from above, what they're telling them to do, why they're doing it, what their motives are. There was a channel on YouTube a while back, and it was a quote-unquote TI channel, right? And they'd go through a cycle of uploading these weird-ass live streams full of cheap deep fakes and voice transposers, voice morphing tech, all pretending to be on this live stream together. It was bizarre. And people actually believed that this was real. Back then they used that goofy-ass weaponized word, and they would say, that channel's full of perps. And the channel wasn't even real. It wasn't real. They'd pull their own material down every few months, then re-upload older videos mixed with newer streams of videos, these weird faked videos, which never ever even talked about anything of any importance. They just talked about nothing. They didn't talk about anything in general. It was just one of the most bizarre things ever. It wasn't even real. It was like a bunch of NPCs or bots talking back and forth about nothing. It was so funny that the title would be important advice for targeted individuals, or whatever. And, you'd click on it wondering just out of curiosity what was going on. And they'd be talking about yeah, I like my couch. My couch is comfortable. Yeah, I'm driving in my truck right now. It was fucking wacky, dude. It was like an NPC bot test, which led me to believe that the people that they were even attacking on the channel weren't even real. They'd go to extreme lengths to leave some type of digital trail of their identity, which in the end was based off some guy with a previous record, or a nobody, or someone missing, or someone dead. Very bizarre, and I followed this shit for a long time, and I'm talking in the trenches. You have no idea. Now, every one of these guys, they all seem to adhere to the same school of thought. Every single one of them. There is a strange psychological viewpoint to every one of them, to every troll, mole, shill. And let's talk about that for a minute. They seem right-wing on the surface until they start scolding people. And you got to really pay attention to what I'm saying here, and you'll get everything. They seem really right-wing on the surface. They are pro-authoritarian. They're always pro-authoritarian. Then, at the same time, they're anti-nationalist. Every one of them is anti-nationalist. And they are rabidly and venomously anti-anything considered by them to be a quote-unquote conspiracy theory. So, conspiracies are the enemy. Anything that they consider a conspiracy. There are facts out there. that they consider to be conspiracy theories. They're always pro-vaccine. Very weird. It doesn't match up, right? You're looking at it and you're going, wow, this is weird. They've got these strange beliefs. They seem to hold these right-wing beliefs while also being totally Antifa level anti-fascist, meaning they're always hunting for racism or anti-Semitism in everything that everybody says. Very weird, but think about it. Every one of them is anti-gun or pro-gun laws or pro-red flag laws, even if they own a gun. Very weird. They are absolutely pro-censorship, pro-flagging, and pro-reporting people's channels and videos until you point out the lies in their comments. Then you are a bully trying to pressure them into not talking. And they'll try to flip it around. The same person makes the same types of comments on this channel all the time with multiple sock puppets. They got corrected once, and now all these different sock puppets will say, I want to say something. Please don't attack me too much. Dude, no one says that, dumbass. You're showing your sock puppets, man. But back to these personality traits of these people. They're always pro-establishment, but they can seemingly flip from capitalist to communist views on different subjects without even realizing it, or at least without being able to admit it. All of it is a very unique political fingerprint, if you want to call it that, a type, and they all coincidentally subscribe to it. That is very, very weird. Now, everything that I said, it reminds me of a paid troll who got caught. Same belief systems, same insane amount of time that they could spend on the internet trolling or making videos or pretending to be someone else. Same everything. Joshua Goldberg. See this kid that looks like a fat Geddy Lee here? And then here he looks like he's got like Cyrax sores here, since I brought up Cyrax. And here is the cleaner photo that they used for his Wikipedia. So what Goldberg did is he pretended to be a radical Islamist, right? And he was just like a Jewish kid from Florida that was in his basement. He would talk Arabs into taking people out to building these BOMBs. He did all kinds of stuff like that. Then he also pretended to be a white nationalist, you know, and he would say all the typical things that fake white supremacists say, you know, like KILL, you know, Jewish people or whatever. He posted as European 88, Michael Slay, you know, tough names. And this is what this guy does. This is what he did. And then there was the Times of Israel blog hoax. He covertly wrote and posted a hoax article in the Times of Israel calling for the extermination of the Palestinian people. So what he was doing, he was an agent of chaos, and he was also acting like a Fed, where, you know, Feds would go into, like, you know, white supremacist camps. If you ever studied, like, PatCon, they would go into, like, Elohim City, and then they would talk these people into doing crimes, like they did to those militia guys when they were talking about kidnapping the governor in Michigan and all that shit. Just crazy shit, and they talked these people into doing stuff. That's what he was doing. He was getting paid for it. I don't care what you tell me. I'm not going to believe otherwise. All of these people are getting paid for it. They're getting paid a lot of money. And he got caught. Joshua Goldberg got caught. So this dirtbag used his lawyers to claim that he was mentally ill, and he got off with barely anything when he was operating as a terrorist. When the reality was, someone like the ACLU, the SPLC, or the ADL was paying him to carry on his activities. Somebody was paying him. They're all paying these guys. He wasn't some basement dweller who carried out his pathetic life on the internet. His punishment was performative. And it was performative to give you the impression that he was a lone wolf operator. He wasn't. He was being paid to be a seed planter, an agent of chaos, and a Bolshevik disruptor. And he got caught. So they made a show of it, just like they do with the rest of them, if and when they get caught. So I'm just going to say it again. All of these guys are being paid by the Cubes, by SPLC, by the ADL, by any of these organizations, and it gets funneled through different methods. They admit that they have these groups like Unit 8200 and all that. They keep tabs on the conversations on forums and on social media. They watch the climate, right? They disrupt the conversation when necessary. They disinform, they misinform. And when they're not doing that, they're making videos about fucking Chris Chan or fucking Cyrax or whoever they want for kicks. And they're being paid to do this. And if you keep following the trail, the money is coming down from your tax dollars, one way or another. Whether it's going from here, overseas, and then coming back here, it's getting to them from your tax dollars. And these people literally have thousands of accounts. They're so ridiculous that they carry on conversations with themselves. Like, I have studied these people and watched them talk back and forth with themselves on Reddit, on forums, everywhere. There was even a glitch in the YouTube comment section within YouTube Studio for years, and I never mentioned it because I didn't want anyone to know about it, because I didn't want it to go away. I didn't want it to be fixed, but it's fixed now, so I'll talk about it. You could do a certain search in YouTube Studio, and it would pull up all the accounts associated with each other that posted on your videos. It was amazing, and it sucks because it's gone, because it was one of the greatest things I've ever discovered in this entire shithole. You could do a certain search and pull them all up. Now, these same people are investing in helping run bot farms for the same organizations that they worked for before, only with bot farms they can put thousands of these sock puppets out at once doing their dirty work for them. But there is something special about them, and you have to pay attention to it because they have a point of view that is unlike any other person. And let's go over that again. They are right-wing on the surface. They're pro-authoritarian but anti-nationalist. They are rabidly and venomously anti-anything that they consider to be a conspiracy theory. They're pro-vaccine while being totally Antifa-level anti-fascist. Always hunting and looking for racism or anti-Semitism. They're anti-gun, pro-red flags, even if they own guns. And they are venomous, pro-censorship, pro-flagging, pro-shutting people down. They're pro-establishment, and they can seemingly flip from a capitalist to a communist view in a millisecond without even realizing it. Very, very strange, but those are the views they hold. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. And this is not a theory. I am telling you 100%. I have folders full of connections showing this shit. It is 100% factual. The people who run these, these old TI support channels from the past, they are connected to the people who run like 9/11 debunking websites or 9/11 debunking channels, Sandy Hook debunking channels. They are connected to the same people who make Chris Chan and Cyrax videos. The Chris Chan stuff started off natural. It was a handful of nerds messing with a bigger nerd. And then other people started to hear about it, and then the idea guys came in. And I noticed right away that their language was exactly the same language that I would read on comments, that I would read on these phony-ass TI support channels and all that bullshit, and everywhere else where there was something shady going on. And it drove Chris Chan over the edge and to somewhere else now. Went beyond innocent. Those are not the same people that first started messing with him as a joke. It totally changed when these people came into the picture. They are all connected, and they are getting paid for it from somewhere to be terminally online, looking at stuff they allegedly don't like. And to be clear, I was constantly searching the internet on fringe subjects between 6 and 12 even 14 years ago, to see what was out there, to see what would pull up. And it wasn't, things weren't as shadow banned back then. You could actually pull up information. And you could find the same language being used, and it sounded like the same people talking on all these different subjects with these unique political points of view. Own a gun, pro-gun law. Right-wing, pro-vax. Pro-authoritarian, anti-nationalist. Just a bizarre combination. That's it for now.